Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Natalie Guess and I am the Director of eMerge Experience, and we are going to be talking today about some of the best practices for email deliverability. So what is email deliverability? How it affects the emails that you send on behalf of yourself and your business. Some different tips to ensure your emails are being delivered. And then what are some of the steps that eMerge takes to make sure that it's easy for you? So what is email deliverability? Well, basically it's the ability to get an email into the intended recipient's box. You know, if your emails aren't reaching your audience, then you're not going to get the results that you're looking for, nor the results that you want and need. So the first thing we're going to talk about is, what are some of the things that affect the deliverability, some different terms that you should know, and then we'll get into some different tips. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is spam. So what is spam? No one likes spam, and the last thing that you want is to be flagged as a spammer. So how do you avoid it? Really being compliant with the CAN-SPAM Act. I'm going to literally read you what the CAN-SPAM Act entails and then explain it a little bit further. It's the law that outlines rules for commercial email, establishes requirements for commercial messages, provides email recipients with a right to make you stop emailing them, and lays out consequences for violations of the Act. So basically, it makes sure that it enforces that people aren't over spamming your inbox. And from that stat below, it says that over 90% of emails sent are classified as spam. We want to make sure that your emails are not part of that 90%, and so we make sure that all of the emails sent, especially through our interface eMerge, are in complete compliance with the CAN-SPAM Act, allowing users to unsubscribe or opt out. You want to make sure that the platform that you're using provides you with the templates and images that are designed to be spam safe. We also have great guides for helping you avoid spam filters with topics such as graphics, subject lines, links, and how you can manage content to avoid spam. And again, we're going to go over some of those tips here in just a little bit further in the webinar. Another thing we're going to talk about right now is going to be your contact list. List maintenance. Make sure your contact list is clean, that your contacts are up to date, and emails are expected from you. Using opt-ins or email sign-up forms, maybe even surveys, promotions, and other methods to collect emails will definitely ensure that your contacts expect to receive your email. You also want to delete bounced addresses and update and remove addresses that are no longer good or valid. You certainly want to avoid purchasing, borrowing, sharing third-party lists. It's better to send only to contacts who have actually opted in to receive emails from you. When you buy lists or use contacts that have not chosen to receive emails, you're going to get marked as spam. You're going to be thrown in that spam box. And you want to avoid that. That's exactly what you're trying to avoid. Because let me tell you something. If you get dropped into spam, or marked as spam, I should say, that completely affects the way everyone else on your list receives your emails. So, some people look at it as, oh, that one person marked me as spam, or those 5 people marked me as spam. Well, that affects how all of your other emails are being delivered from that point forward. So it is a big deal, and you want to make sure that you are considering that whenever you're thinking about your list maintenance or the types of email lists that you're going to send to. A basic rule, again, is only to send emails to the contacts that have actually opted in, and make sure that you're only sending those contacts email that has content related to what they've opted in for. It's one of the best ways to keep your contacts from marking you as spam is making sure that you're sending them relevant information and that you're sending them information that you told them you were going to send from the get-go, which got them to actually opt in and do business with you. In terms of opt-in, so they have single opt-in and then there's the double opt-in. A single opt-in is if an email marketer actually takes that single opt-in approach, which usually involves taking user's form entry and immediately adding that person to a live email list. It also could be, where the business, or if you actually take your current email database and you just upload it directly into the interface. So you're taking those users and automatically just with a single opt-in dropping them in. A double opt-in is if the email marketer, uses a double opt-in in order for a user to be added to an email list. So a double option, or, I guess, action. So once they opt into a form, they get sent an email with a confirmation link after they have initially opted in, asking them to confirm the communication. So I'm sure that we have all received emails from different users or different companies. I'll use, for an example, Fast Company. I'm not sure if anyone's aware of Fast Company, but what they do is they send out a lot of leadership news, creative, graphics, creativity, success in terms of businesses and big businesses. And whenever you opt in or you change your preferences for email, they send you a double opt-in. So basically they send you an email confirmation immediately after with a link asking you to confirm that you did just make this this option, or this opt-in for specific email communication. That is exactly what we do here at eMerge. Whenever you have a form located anywhere, it triggers a double opt-in. So when someone fills out the form and signs up, they're going to receive an automated response asking them to confirm that they just opted in for something. That's the surest way that you're going to keep users in your database, and you're not going to get marked as spam, because they are, they're double saying, hey, yes, I want this information. How can you get contacts to opt in? Well, we believe in keeping it simple. For a single opt-in in eMerge, you just import your contact list from somewhere else, such as your Gmail account, Yahoo account, business email, your CRM, however you're managing your current client database, exporting it in maybe a CSV or an Excel file, and then literally just uploading that into the system. For double opt-ins, the eMerge platform is automatically set up so that your form sends an automated response to that new contact to confirm what they signed up for. So this, again, it won't take your users by surprise. They're not going to be like, what is this information I'm receiving? They actually had to take that double action in order to start receiving your communication. Email deliverability has a lot to do with email bounces. So this is a question that we get all of the time. So let's talk a little bit about email bounces. There's a soft bounce and then there's a hard bounce. Excuse me. A temporary problem with email deliverability relates to a soft bounce. It could be that their email box was full. It could be that their email or their server was busy or down when we tried to send, or when you tried to send. That relates to a soft bounce. So it's telling us it's not that it's a bad email address, it's just that their server or their mailbox is having issues in receiving the email that we're sending. A hard bounce is due to non-existent or invalid or blocked email addresses. When we say that something hard bounces, it's because we receive a fatal error back from their server. And that sounds like it's crazy, a fatal error, but that's what it is. That's the terms that they go by and that they use. So if you see an email address that you have that has a hard bounce and you tell us, hey, I know this is a good email address, I just emailed them earlier today, well, the server is sending us a fatal response, which means that our system hard bounces it, because if we continue to try and send to a hard bounce email, it's going to affect how all of the other emails are delivered. And I don't believe that that is just our system. That is all systems with Matt's email in terms of soft bounce or hard bounce. Now, other systems maybe don't monitor that for you. They may, allow you to keep sending the soft bounces and hard bounces, and it just makes your deliverability go further and further down. But that's part of the issue there, is that it negatively impacts deliverability, and those people should definitely be removed from your email list. Again, the more hard bounces you receive, the lower your deliverability becomes. And, the spam filters start thinking, okay, well, this email address keeps trying to send to these bad email addresses over and over and over again. They must just be a spammer. The soft bounces aren't all that serious, but, what happens is if they continue to try and send to soft bounces and you keep having problems, they're going to treat it just like they would a hard bounce. It's going to have the same effect. So you want to make sure that you are definitely tracking those. You want to make sure that you're looking at the ones that are bouncing back and taking care of those and monitoring those on your end to ensure that you're going to have, that higher deliverability. If you are inside of the eMerge platform, that is something that we do track on your behalf. We do show you who bounced and why they bounced. In other words, we show you who they are and whether they're a soft or hard bounce. But we actually monitor on our end, and we actually flag them in the database to no longer receive email, A, if they're a hard bounce immediately, and then B, if they're a soft bounce, after 3 different communication pieces have been tried to be sent to that person or that user, we will mark them as a hard bounce or flag them as a hard bounce or delete them if after the 3rd time we still cannot have the email sent. And like I said, it's key because I know people get frustrated and they get upset when people and users bounce back, but ultimately if you keep trying to send to those, it's going to affect how all of the other users in your client database receive your email. It's really best to try and communicate and follow up with those bounces and see if they have other additional email addresses or optional email addresses that they can give you to ensure that that communication is being delivered appropriately. The next thing that you're going to want to do is you want to look at your email rates. That's going to really help you with email deliverability as well. So let me explain why. By you tracking when someone opens and clicks through an email, basically you're measuring the success. You're measuring what kind of communication is being engaged with, why it's being engaged with, what's most popular. And then based on that, the type of content that you want to send out or the type of content you want to stop sending. What's giving you the highest engagement? Because when you have high engagement, your email deliverability actually goes up. You're going to start receiving more and more engagement when people are engaging with content that's relevant. Through your email reports, this is actually a screenshot of a eMerge email report, but you should be able to track all of that. Again, being able to see opens percentage-wise, unopens percentage-wise, bounces. In this particular one, there is no bounces. However, if there were, we would have been able to see them and view that list. On average, a good email open rate is 14 to 16% is considered a good average open rate. So our clients on average receive anywhere from 24 to 28% open rate, and I've seen much, much higher, but that's just an industry average, and it's phenomenal. So A, we're having high deliverability, and B, we're having high engagement and open rate. Now let's talk about some different tips for high deliverability. In terms of contacts, again, try to segment your audience into different lists. So, maybe it's based on interest or demographic or area, but you want to try and segment them and label them and be able to send specific content that is targeted based on their interests to those particular lists. So you're not mass emailing everybody the same thing over and over again. You want to keep your email list clean by updating bad email addresses. Again, deleting those opt-outs and removing bounces. You want to keep your list clean to lower the risk of your deliverability dropping and getting flagged by contacts as spam. Things you want to avoid, again, are lumping everyone into large lists if you can help it. Again, that really depends on the business you're in, the industry you're in. Sometimes it is very appropriate to have everyone in the same list. However, if you could really drill down based on interest and be able to segment the database and send targeted communication to those lists, you're going to have a much higher engagement. Again, do not purchase, share, buy, trade third-party email lists. You want to use the contact list that you have that have opted in. Next, let's talk about subject lines. You do want to keep it strong, keep it consistent, and keep it simple. When you send a weekly or a monthly newsletter, keep your subject line consistent so that people recognize the newsletter as one they have been receiving. Try to include your name in the subject line or relate it to the content. People tend to delete emails when they don't know who it was sent, or they don't know who sent it, I'm sorry. Include your business name so that they will recognize you. And then you want to entice your audience with excitement, wit, and mystery. When your subject lines are enticing, your contacts are going to be more prone to open your emails. You don't want to use all caps and lots of punctuation in an email. You certainly don't want to use spammy words like free, cash bonus, call now, or even startling words such as urgent, emergency, or last chance. You know, these are all things that spam filters look for, and if some reason a spam filter doesn't flag an email with a subject line such as that, then chances are your contact list will certainly put your email in the spam file anyway, which again is going to hurt your deliverability. On a quick note, we actually have a blog that was written specific to subject lines, and it's 100 words to never use in a subject line. So please check out our blog at easyeMerge.com and take a look at that article. It's a great resource when you're trying to come up with different taglines or you know, verbiage for your subject line. It's one good thing to look at. In terms of your email templates, you certainly want to include visual branding. So your logo, you want to keep your color scheme and your graphics. This will help your contacts to recognize you as well as make your newsletter look very professional. Try and break up email into clearly defined sections. So if everything is all jumbled together and messy, it's going to get thrown out. You know, people don't want to have to sift through the information to really understand it. You want to make sure that you use responsive templates so they look just as good in your inbox as they do on your mobile device. You know, statistics say that over 40% of email is now opened on a mobile device. I also read a statistic yesterday that consumers aged 18 to 39 are now reading their email. It's actually 80% of consumers 18 to 39 are reading email from their mobile device. So you really need to consider that whenever you're sending an email. Again, you want it to be clearly defined. You don't want it all jumbled out, and you definitely want to make sure that it's got key points, you know. And that's what the call to actions are there for, to drive them to other information if they're interested. But you certainly don't want to overwhelm them with information inside of the email. Again, you don't want to use distracting backgrounds because really that's just going to take attention away from your content. The more distracting and jumbled, the faster it's just going to get thrown out or get marked as spam, which affects your deliverability. Don't make the template too wide. Readers cannot stand having to horizontal scroll. These are more cosmetic things. However, they're really going to make or break how your contacts see your newsletter. Think about if you received an email on your mobile device where you had to scroll side to side. People aren't going to do it. Some people might not even get it, and they think that it's just broken. And, you know, that's definitely not a good sign for you or your business. Again, they're probably just going to mark it as spam because if they can't read it, they don't want to keep receiving your email. Now, tips for content. You do want to send content that your audience is anticipating. If you tell your contacts that your email is being sent twice a month, then send it twice a month. It's okay to send more frequent updates. However, you don't want to bombard them. If you send too much email, they're not going to really pay attention to what it is that you're sending out. So it kind of defeats the purpose. You want to make content engaging and interesting. So don't just talk about yourself. Include content that will add value to your readers, such as maybe lifestyle content, different tips around your industry, promotions, sales, coupons, etc. Things that are going to add value. You want to give your readers the chance to explore other channels and respond to call to actions, so make them clear. Again, don't trick them into going to links that they aren't expecting. Make sure that the call to actions are clearly outlined and that they understand where they're going. Some things that you don't want to do in terms of content: you do not want to send an email full of requests, and you don't want to be too demanding. The more things that you're asking people to do, the less likely they will be to do any of them. In fact, they may not even keep opening your emails for that matter. You do not want to put your entire blog post inside of your email, you guys. You need to keep it short. with an image and a link to the entire article. You know, your blog is there for a reason, or the article, full article, is somewhere posted for a reason. Keep your articles there. Your emails should draw people to your blog or website, not carry it. I've seen it over and over and over again where people just send out these emails with nothing but all this text, and you know, I could scroll on for 3 minutes, and to be perfectly honest, I'm not going to read all of that. I'm just going to see it as overwhelming, it's too much, I'm going to delete it. However, if there's clear titles, short little snippets of what the article is about, and I'll click here to read more, I'm going to click it and read more if that's what I'm interested in. However, if it's way too much content, it's going to be overwhelming, I'm not going to read any of it, I'm just going to delete it. Next thing for high deliverable emails is going to be graphics and imagery. You do want to keep them visually appealing. You know, hey, you like images, I like images, who doesn't like images? We all like to see, we're visual people, but you need to keep them looking clean and visually appealing so that way your readers aren't turned off to the request or the rest of the content inside of your email. You want to describe pictures in the alt tag. So again, when you upload an image, it usually has an option to put some descriptive or alternative text. You certainly want to do that because if they don't load the images, they can at least see what that image is about, and that might intrigue them to download and show images. Also, when you do that, when you put a description or alternative text, and you let them know exactly what it is, it helps with the SEO, the online version of your emails. So when you send out an email, you also post it to sometimes Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn or to your blog or to your website. And when you do that, there is an online version. So again, that does help with SEO. Things you don't want to do. You don't want to use a GIF or a Flash or any type of moving file. Moving images in email wreck. It just is a wreck, and they can become kind of cheesy, and people generally don't like them in their email. Sometimes they're not even delivered. Spam filters grab them, and they don't even deliver them to the spam folder. So, you know, in terms of deliverability, a lot of times, you know, emails will tend to go to someone's spam box. But in this case, whenever you have Flash or moving files in an email, they sometimes get trapped and they're not even delivered at all. You also don't want to use really intense images that will distract readers from content provided. You know, you definitely want to keep them visually appealing, but the pictures need to complement the content. You know, you really don't want them to distract from the rest of the content because, you know, you want them to read it and be engaged with it and click on it. However, if it's too much, they're just, you know, they, again, become too distracted and they may delete it or mark it as spam. You know, in terms of deliverability, you want to make sure that you're using the email reports to see exactly who is engaging with your email. You can see who opened your email, who clicked on it, who clicked on what links, how many times, and this will really give you some great insight when you try to identify potential leads. If someone has clicked on one of your service links multiple times, it's pretty safe to say they're interested. So you can reach out to them and turn them into customers. You know, you can stay on top of the content that's working. So if your recipe section of the bi-monthly newsletter is getting way more attention than the coupon, then maybe you want to do more recipe or find other content that really complements that recipe article versus, you know, keep pushing the other coupon pieces or vice versa. You want to stay on top of the content that's working. You want to track your data so that you can continue to have high deliverability in your email. When one email does significantly worse than the other, you know, most likely there's a reason. So you want to make sure that you're comparing those reports, compare your subject lines, compare the images, compare the content. You want to make sure that you are definitely paying attention to that data because ultimately if you're getting a high change, that should be a red flag to you to go in and check it out and see what's going on. So let's take a look at one of the emails that are good. You know, it's a good one to relate to or to mirror. So her subject line, I'm going to read it to you because it's not on here. It is Cheryl's Real Estate Update, 5 Things Before Purchasing a House and More. It mentions who she is. It's about real estate, valuable content, but it still leaves a little bit of mystery enticing people to open it. In terms of her contact list, again, I know you can't see this, but this is sent to a clean list of contacts who have opted in to receive her newsletter, and they're expecting to receive it on a regular basis. She avoided using spammy words in her subject line, and she definitely didn't use any punctuation. In terms of looking at the template, you can tell that it's professionally built out. It's not sloppy. The graphics, there are a few graphics to make the template more appealing and add some character to the content, but that's it. The content is laid out well. It has noticeable headers, images, and links to social blog and website, and there's not a whole lot of blog article, but it definitely encourages exploring more. So again, this is what I was mentioning, just the snippet of the article, an image that complements it, the title of the article, continue to read more, and then here's links to all her social channels, her website, her listings. Very straightforward. It's laid out very nice and clean, and it's going to show up just perfectly like that on the mobile device, which again is very easy to maneuver, to look at, and to manipulate from a mobile device. So is anybody feeling overwhelmed? I would hope not. We certainly don't want you to feel overwhelmed. It is a lot to deal with, but that's what we're here for. We're here to help you. We're here to assist you to make sure that you have the best practices and the best email capabilities to give you the best email deliverability. Here's a few things that we can do for you. We've already done most of the work. Our professionally designed templates are created to avoid spam filters. They're very visually appealing. They're branded to you and your business. They're also very simple to work with. Our email contact forms ensure that your new contacts know that they're not being spammed. There's a double opt-in that you can offer, so that way you won't have many unsubscribes because, people who forgot that they signed up for something. The system removes hard bounce email addresses so that your deliverability will not be hurt by repeated bounces. Again, we want you to reach the maximum amount of contacts every single time. And then email reports that will show you who's engaging with your emails so that you can reach out to potential leads, focus on content that's successful, and really measure your results. Again, also giving you that capability of measuring those bounces as well and being able to follow up and get appropriate email addresses at your leisure versus them continuously affecting your email rates. Any questions that I can answer at this time? So one of the questions is about unsubscribes. Do we track and monitor unsubscribes in eMerge? We absolutely do, and we definitely encourage and make sure that if you're not using eMerge, that whatever you are using allows for the same thing. If someone opts out of your email list inside of eMerge, we flag them as deleted, and they cannot be re-added. They cannot be accidentally re-added. There's a process to get them re-added if they want to be. But we also provide that list to you so that way you can monitor it and follow up and really see, what users are opting out of, what type of content. Any other questions? So this other question is about soft bounces. We definitely monitor soft bounces as well. As I mentioned, we will attempt to send an email to a soft bounce 3 times in a row. And I say 3 times. It could be 3 times in a day. It just depends on the type of response we get from the server. But ultimately, it could be 3 different emails. The key is in a row. So if their email soft bounces, with the first email send, yet your next email it goes through, that doesn't count as one of the 3. It has to be 3 soft bounces in a row. Once they bounce 3 times in a row with a soft bounce, we automatically flag them as deleted in the database. We show you who they are and that they were a soft bounce. So if you needed to follow up to get an appropriate email address or an updated email address, you can most certainly do that. All right, some other resources to check out are certainly our blog. As I mentioned, there's tons of resources there, different blog articles around best practices for email and graphics and content and subject lines. Also check out our website for more tips and also follow us on our social channels. I'd like to thank you all for coming to our webinar today. I really appreciate it. I hope you gained some valuable insight on email deliverability and then some best practices that you can implement for yourself and your business. If you're interested in talking to an interactive marketing specialist, please email us at getStarted@easyeMerge.com or follow up with us at 888-639-9323. Again, my name is Natalie Guess. I'm the Director of eMerge Experience, and if there's anything that I can do to assist or help you, please make sure that you call me at 985-781-4471. You can also email me at webinars@easyeMerge.com. Thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you on the next webinar coming up soon.